Hey everyone, Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
Hello, baby!
What is up, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between? You have joined us for a new edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Welcome to the show, everybody. For those who are uninitiated, how did you find us? Well, the answer to that is you love Van Halen. Well, guess what? We are the show that dives into the catalog and discography of Van Halen, one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. And we do it one track at a time. I am your co-host, Mark Kameyer. With me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, are you feeling the love of rock tonight?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe, my friend. When I was driving back from the gym tonight, I usually have just a generic playlist. Pretty much all my favorite rock tunes on this massive playlist. I put it on shuffle. It played me 2 Van Halen songs on the way home. It's 2 songs to get from the gym to my house. One was a Sammy tune, one was a Dave tune. Both are on the wheel, both highly manifested. So I don't know. Kevin Brown on his Queen show, everybody, he called the shot this week. And very impressively, too, because they got a ton of songs on their wheel. And I feel like I'm going to call it tonight. I just don't know if I'm going to go the Sammy route or the Dave route. But if we get one of those songs, we're going to be very happy.
Oh, I do not doubt it whatsoever, and I don't doubt that you'll probably call your shot because you are the best at it on this show. You've done it 3 times. So going for Quattro. So let's see if we can make that happen. But before we make that happen, Corey, what we know that Wolfie is doing his thing in Mammoth WVH. So what is going on in the rest of the Van Halen ethos, as it were?
Well, speaking of Wolfie, there's a great interview with him on the Van Halen news desk where he's talking about opening for Metallica because they're about to start the North American leg of their world tour, their No Repeat Weekend tour here coming up next weekend, I believe, in New Jersey. I think our buddy John Mariano it might be attending that show. But he talked about, meeting Lars at the Taylor Hawkins tribute and, how surreal it is to kind of be opening for Metallica and on that stage. I don't know if you've seen the setup, but they're doing In the Round in a football stadium. Pretty insane stage setup. So Wolfie's like, I don't even know how the hell to perform. He's never done In the Round, right? It's a different beast. So he talks about that a little bit. So that interview's on there. We also got a great article on Jason Becker was given a guitar by Eddie Van Halen in 96. To pay for his ongoing health care. He has ALS, unfortunately, and now he's selling that guitar to raise money for his ALS care. So I don't know if you got 40, 50 grand in your pocket and you want to buy your really cool 96 Wolfie EVH Wolfgang guitar, by all means, go buy that guitar and help out a buddy, Jason Becker, raising money for ALS care. So that's on there as well. And the ongoing saga of the 1984 documentary. We talked about this quite a bit. A Van Halen fan, took it upon himself to make a great documentary on Van Halen in the 1980s, talking about the S Festival, the building of 5150 Studios, the making of the 94 album. He uploaded the first 2 episodes, and they were fantastic. This guy knocked it out of the park, just did a fantastic job. And then they got taken down. And
of course,
it was kind of in Alex's hand for a while. The record company was like, because he uses a lot of Van Halen's music, right? We should maybe be paying attention to the story a little bit more. And he was forced to take it down. He's actually re-edited it with just generic music or anything that he can kind of get in there for fair use. But the episode 3 is now uploaded, the making of the 1984 album. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but if it's anything like episodes 1 and 2, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm just sorry that here's a fan who's trying to spread the love of Van Halen, and the record company's like, nope, take that shit down. We don't want people celebrating our music. Blah blah blah. They're so anti-fan. It's crazy. You think they were a movie studio? They hate fans so much.
I mean, look, the labels, I dare say, are so, kind of worse than the movie studios these days. Like everything that for those of you not in the know of the entertainment world, there is a writer strike and there is an actor strike happening right now, and it's all because, hey, simply they want to be paid wages so that they can afford health insurance. And we're not talking about the A-listers. We're talking about everybody else, all the extras, the featured extras, the crew members, the stunt people, all part of these organizations. And then, of course, the writers that apparently studios just don't give a shit about. And they can just be replaced with AI. And that's horrible. But record labels have been doing the same thing to artists for years. And they do it via streaming. I mean, like, I know I'm hypocritical because I use it too. We all use Spotify, but Spotify is doing nothing to help increase artist profits. If anything, they're making it so much worse. And I wish I could tell you that Apple Music is doing it better just because they had a lot of artists endorse it. But the truth is, I don't think that's true. And it all still stems from record labels. They don't want to put in the time, effort, and money into bands that they actually believe in, because they don't believe in acts anymore. It's all about what is going to get us the most hits on TikTok, YouTube, things like that. What's the flavor of the week, so that we can spend as little money as possible, but still reap in the benefits. So it's crazy out there. So the fact that this guy who is trying to make this labor of love project happen, and the label is like, nope, you're not using the money, those songs, because they cost money, and you're not paying us. So unless you pay us, it's greed. It's corporate greed. It's the same story in and out all over the place. It's not a great time for the entertainment world right now. It's really not, any way you shake it. So Corey and I, we're keeping the podcast going, and thank you to all of our lovely patrons who keep the lights on, because we're doing this for fun. We're doing this because we all enjoy the music of Van Halen, and we enjoy talking about it. And obviously you guys love talking about it because you're keeping it going. So the best we can do, all that to say, is just to move forward the best we can until we just absolutely can't anymore. But I'll be damned if we don't get through with this wheel before we get shut down. You hear me? We're doing it. We're pressing forward. So there it is. And also support your artists when they come to town. Buy their merch. I know people don't buy records anymore, but do what you can. Just like support your artists, local artists for sure. But I mean, even someone like Wolfgang, or artists that you genuinely love, they're not doing so hot in the touring world these days. So support them. Show as much support as you possibly can.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. And that new Mammoth album comes out in a couple of weeks, I believe. I got my autographed copy pre-ordered from the Mammoth website. I recommend everybody go do that. I got mine coming on vinyl. You can get it on CD. Whatever Wolfie signs them. He actually drew little doodles in a few. Kind of hoping cool. The odds are astronomical, but I'm hoping I get one. But I highly, highly doubt it.
You never know, man.
Kevin Brown, Tom Brady. Hey, some of us buy records. Missed my Brian May box set arrived today. Thank God. Kevin has been waiting for about a week for the Starfleet project, which Mark Kamier, we're going to be doing. I hope we do it live, actually. Thanks to StreamYard here, we can do it live on our YouTube, live on our Facebook, and live on their Facebook. So we can actually, Randy and Kev from the Seaside Pod Review, you and I talking about the Starfleet project. Man, I can't wait.
That is going to be a fun time. So be on the lookout for that, you guys. Anything else happening in the world of Van Halen news other than that?
Nope, that's about it on the Van Halen News Desk. Everybody remember, go to vhnd.com to get all your Van Halen news. Get some merch there. They're selling all the best books signed by the author. You can get all sorts of T-shirts there. Just go support the band, like Mark said. Even though Van Halen, have made $1 or $2.
Yeah, exactly. So support Alex Van Halen. He's still with us. He's still kicking. Michael Anthony's still with us. Sammy Hagar. Whether you feel like they're actual members of the band, I do. So. Moving forward.
Speaking of which, I believe it's Gary Sharon's birthday today, as we record this.
Oh, no kidding. Well, happy birthday to you at the time of this recording, Gary Sharon, and no apologies necessary. You put out a good record, and it's good stuff. Please keep Extreme going, and that's all. That's I think we should leave it at that. There you go.
And Tour Canada.
Tour Canada, please, for Corey's sake, so he can come see you and so he can say hi and apologize in person for the both of us.
I will wear my apologies to Gary T-shirt to that concert. Absolutely.
What if he sees it? What if you're at a show up there, he sees that shirt and all of our speculation or fears, whatever, that he like secretly listens to the show and he's just plotting his revenge. He sees that and goes like, "Holy you. Oh my, yeah, I got something to say to you." That would be a story to tell. And boy, let's just hope they tour Canada because I really want that. Or if not, come to Nashville Extreme. I will wear apologies to Gary's shirt. I will go to that that show and see what happens. So
he'll probably see it and say, "What are you apologizing for?" And I'll say, "You don't want to know."
Oh my God. Yeah. That typically he's like, apologize. Wait, what are you saying sorry for? Like, nah.
Chaz wants to hear some beautiful girls. I don't know. Should I bring it out? Kevin, not a fan. There's no need for that kind of language, but
there's not. What there is a need for is to go to the rock and poll from last week. Last week, we went over the track Bottoms Up, and with an astounding positive light, we got a 94.4% What Dreams Are Made Of versus a 5.6%. I'm not shocked that it would vote so high. I guess I'm more shocked that it was as high. I was thinking more like maybe at 90% or something, What Dreams Are Made Of. Certainly not 94%. That's almost like, that's nearly there at 100. So you guys seem to really, really enjoy Bottoms Up, and I don't blame you. But my question is, what are you guys saying about it? So going into the tweets, I'm going to read aloud the tweets that were made by our patrons. And if you want your tweet guaranteed read from the poll, please go to our Patreon, sign up. We've got a tier for you. I guarantee it. So let's hear what some of our patrons have to say, starting with Ryan Powell. Our buddy Ryan Powell says, Bottoms Up is just plain swinging fun. The harmonizing and interplay between Dave and Mike is the highlight for me, especially when they bust up laughing in the middle of it. It perfectly captures early Van Halen in a bottle. # What Dreams Are Made Of. I agree. I think, I love that little moment where they're laughing because it just makes the song feel real, makes you feel like you're in the room with them. I think I said that last week, and that's a great moment. I love it. The ever popular Kevin Brown says, and he's in the chat, so he's lurking. He can confirm this. David Lee Roth era Van Halen at its finest. Love the hard panning on the intro before the amped up blues shuffle kicks in. Love the scatting and the left in outtakes in the bridge. Ed's solo is unusually subdued, but tasty as fuck regardless. A good, fun rocker. # What Dreams Are Made Of. There you go. Perfectly said. Well said there, Kevin. And if you have anything to add to that, please throw it in the chat since you're a patron and a lurker. But moving forward here, I just want to make sure I'm not going to skip anybody. Make sure. Scott Monroe says, swinging party rock, smooth harmonies, primo Dave-isms, 2 killer solos oozing with attitude, a raw breakdown that's funny, and quintessential Van Halen. Take that shot and down it. Come on, baby. Oh, whatever. What Dreams Are Made Of. He just went nuts on that one. Either that or he fell asleep on his keyboard. I'm not sure. But thank you, Scott. Good stuff there. Moving on here, we go to the other Scott Everett. He says, FUN, just fun. The band had a blast playing this one live and made it fun for all of us to listen to ever since. I can't imagine why they wouldn't, and I can't imagine it wouldn't be fun. Once again, just another thing of making me envious and sad that I never got to see them live, but what do you do? All right. Greg Zito says 10 out of 10 for this swinging track. Love that they left in Dave's off note. Gives it more swagger and a live feel when a lot of other albums of that era felt overproduced. I think we can all agree with that. Like I said, that just the fact that and you can hear that it's not produced to perfection, that it's got a raw feel to it, even with the outtakes left in. It just feels real. It feels natural. And that, I think, is ultimately why we dig it so much, because it just feels like a natural jam, and we're just lucky to be a part of it. So yeah, right on. Jeff Brewer says that Kevin Brown said it best in the chat when he called this song Ed's homage to Billy Gibbons. Gibbons deserves a ton of credit for my appreciation of Ed's playing. This song is very LaGrange, but it is still pure Van Halen. Ed's phrasing is unrivaled. He goes on to say, incredible harmonies, incredible rhythm section, incredible Edward, all in a song about wasting time, jumping up and drinking down most every night. Would you agree with that assessment that it's LaGrange?
It is, yeah. Very early ZZ Top, which is a big influence, obviously, on the Van Halen brothers. They used to cover LaGrange. And actually, in the Discord chat, I believe somebody was posting clips of Van Halen doing LaGrange. So, I thought that was a very apt comparison.
Well, there you are. So, and that'll do it for our patron tweets. We had a lot more, and like a lot of you guys have some good stuff to say, but if you want them guaranteed read, join the Patreon. Throw some scratch our way, and we'll scratch your back while we're at it, or we'll find something else we can entertain you with. I guarantee you, nothing is off limits. So,
speaking of patrons, maybe we should tell. We got a new one this week, and he's a guest on our show just a couple of weeks ago. The one and only Heath McCoy. Welcome to the Patreon, Heath McCoy. He hasn't been in the Discord server yet. I'm hoping to see him in there though, chatting it up with Scott, Minifesto Monroe, and Kevin and Ryan and Jeff, and all the regulars in the Discord server, talking all things Van Halen.
Oh, he's not far off from little mini manifestos himself, so I'm sure it'll lure him in.
I tell you, Chaz says down voters of Bottoms Up are fans of Once, which
out of about 89 votes, we did have a percentage of down voters, and I didn't see anything in the tweets that would indicate as to why. Mainly just I'm assuming just people just going meh, nah, it's not popular, or it's not the Van Halen track I love. So there you go.
Down voters, I guarantee you've cooked hot dogs and lit a meth pipe over a flaming barrel in a Portland alleyway. There you go. Josh paints quite the picture, don't he, folks?
That is a very specific image, but I don't disagree with that assessment. So well done, Josh. So all right. Awesome. So with that out of the way, and that being said, Corey, it's just you and I. So what do you say we get down to our favorite part of it? And everyone, raise your glass, take a drink. It's time for manifestations. Beer, 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 beer. We're gonna get a clip at some point for that. But all right, going over to the Discord just to start it off, we had Kevin Brown was very, very adamant that we must hear Pleasure Dome, but then he kind of backtracked and went to Spanked as well. So either way, I'm gonna say Kevin is manifesting Pleasure Dome and or Spanked, and if he does, we're going to have to bring him into the show and have him explain himself. Chaz Charles just said he wants Spanked as well, so he's calling it.
You forgot Scott Minifesto Monroe. He was the first one there this week. He wants to keep the VH train running. That's right. But somebody get me a doctor.
That one has been requested quite a few times. So
by me, usually, shocked. Yeah,
usually by you, but I mean, but not just you. So I'm shocked that you haven't called your shot on that one quite yet. But Ryan Powell says we're due to finish off Women and Children first and spin And the Cradle Will Rock. We've yet to spin our namesake. So
do you want to reply to that from Mr. Brown?
We got lurkers in the chat who are making very derogatory remarks, and no, I will not justify it. I won't.
I will. But Kevin Brown says you need a beer, Mark. All I see is a can of Donkey Ball Sweat. What are you drinking tonight, Mark?
It's a beverage that is very supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, and I don't see what's wrong with that. So there you go.
There you go.
What it tastes like doesn't matter, does it?
You know what? So and I got a 12-pack of that in my fridge, so I'm not complaining about Coors Light. Kevin is very much he's a beer snob. He's one of those craft beer types.
Wait. He is also from across the pond, so they have a different way of thinking about beer. Look, here's the thing. Time sometimes is hard, and we can't all just be forking over for the super high, high AC level craft beers that we all love. And don't get me wrong, I love them. but I'm a Southerner, and Southerners like to drink piss beer sometimes because it's cheap and it's easy. And who really enjoy Coors Light? Parentera enjoy Coors Light. Guarantee you the Van Halen boys did too, but I can't confirm that. I don't know that as fact because I am not an expert. I am not a rock historian either, and I'm not even a historian on beer consumption. So take that for what it is.
Where's Senate when you need him? Senate. Hey, Eric, did Van Halen drink Coors Light? Yeah.
Get in here.
People need to know.
Jeff Brewer said he's manifesting Dance the Night Away. That would be a great one. I would love to go into that one. And then Scott Everett says, I need something from 1984 to honor episode 3 of Alan Berry's documentary that you were mentioning. So that would be cool as well. So, Corey, you told me off air something specific that you're going to try and call your shot again. Yeah.
Yes, that's very true. Like I said, on the way home from the gym, 2 specific songs played, and both are on the wheel. One's a Dave tune, one's a Sammy tune. I'm going to ditch the Sammy tune because we've manifested the fuck out of that and it's never come up. Which Humans Being was the second song that played on my drive home. The first one, though, and it goes in with Mr. Everett here, who wants something from 1984. The only track we have left from 1984 is House of Pain. And that's what I heard when I first turned on my truck after getting in there from the gym. So I'm manifesting House of Pain from 1984. Jeff Brewer says, ain't nothing wrong with that. The VH boys liked Schiltz malt liquor. There you go. Schlitz. Sorry.
Schlitz. Yeah.
I'm not American. Schlitz is garbage, though. I remember, when I was a kid, I lived about 50 minutes away from the American border. So we would drive to Plentywood, Montana, and we'd go to the Piggly fucking Wiggly or the Come and Go, and we'd get like 24-pack of Schlitz for like $8. Like just the cheapest, grossest fucking beer you can imagine. But if you drank 24 of them, you'd get a slight buzz.
Exactly. So yeah, like Kevin, I don't want to hear any down talk on Coors Light's cheapness Schlitz, and grossness until you drink some Schlitz, okay?
Or as Chaz says, shits. Yeah, because it will give you the shits. That is also true. Yes.
Or old style. Yeah. Don't talk to me about cheap grossness until you drink one of those. But anyway, yeah, exactly. So okay, all right. You wanna finish off with House of Pain? All right.
Yes, sir.
That would be that would be the first album that we'd be completely done with. So Kevin's out.
Kevin's done. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done. I as much as it pains me, but I'm gonna do it because I don't think it'll happen. But I would really love to hear it. I'm gonna manifest our namesake, man. I really want to hear In the Cradle Will Rock. That is lots to be said about that track. That's what I'll say. So heavily manifesting and proxy vote for Amsterdam over here. So
there you go. There's only one thing to say about In the Cradle Will Rock, and that it's fucking brilliant. But hopefully
not to
we
tip
spin
your
it for
hat,
your sake tonight.
but yeah. But
no, I mean,
we don't get it.
Yeah, I don't like that song at all. What the hell am I talking about?
No. It's like, so cheesy. God, I hope
all right, we got this fancy wheel here, folks. Oh, we have 34 entries left on the wheel, buddy. Jeez, it just seemed like only yesterday. Yep. So we have we have 5 lurkers lurking. So I'm going to shuffle it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Currently sitting on Can't Stop Loving You. What do you say, Mark? You ready to see what we get?
Let me hear it, Sammy.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, we're going to go to a different kind of truth.
Yeah.
We're going to go to As Is. All right.
Kind of truth. That was way outside what we thought we might get. But hey, them's the bricks sometimes. So the breaks. Yep. So any fond memories, any sort of caveats before we get started that you have about this track?
I really like this album. I don't want to tip my hand on the track too much, but I was seeing in a lot of Van Halen album rankings and in the 6-packs that we did with Eric and all that. A lot of folks were putting A Different Kind of Truth near the bottom, whereas not me. I'm actually quite a big fan of this record because we're using just a little inside baseball for everybody. I switched from Zoom to StreamYard to try and up the production value a little bit for our friends on YouTube. I started dropping episodes on YouTube just really for the fuck of it, and we ended up in like no time getting over 100 subscribers. So to all you people who found us on YouTube, hey, thank you and hello, and hopefully we're giving you a little better production thanks to StreamYard. But A Different Kind of Truth is not on YouTube Music or Spotify, which is what I use.
Right.
To play the tracks through StreamYard, because I can't play them off iTunes for a lot of different technical reasons. So I'm actually just have to go to YouTube and play it off there. That's why you heard a little bit of it at first, because it just wanted to fucking play right off the hop right when I brought it up. So hopefully the sound is okay. I know last week we had some issues with the track we did. It sounded really tinny, and that was just a byproduct of the program we were using. Hopefully everything is cleaned up here. I want to go to the chat here real quick. Kevin Brown says, don't know this one, should be fun. Yep. Good buddy Chaz says, ain't no bricks truck following no hearse. And Jeff says, this is a good one, best on A Different Kind of Truth. And that's kind of been the consensus for people who dig this album, is that it's one of the best on A Different Kind of Truth.
Well, then I guess we'll find out. I'm with Kevin. This one, because this album was definitely not one of mine in rotation in the past. So this is going to be new to me.
Chaz says, let's have some fun, so all right. So we're going to go all the way back to 2012 and A Different Kind of Truth. This is As Is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Any song with a count-in like that is already what dreams are made of. I fucking love that count-in.
It's just it's so simple of a thing, but it's like, oh wow, you're smashed, or you just want us to think you're smashed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
What did you think of that intro, Mark?
Well, it was like a very, very heavy intro, and then we just went smack back into the Old Faithful swing of Van Halen. So that's quite a misdirect, I would say. Not over the top misdirect, as of course, but a misdirect. I was expecting something slower and a little bit more chunky, but then they're like, nope, here you go, swing.
Yep. Kevin Brown says, fuck me, did you borrow his toms from Roger Taylor? They sound gargantuan. Yes, they do.
I mean, yeah, I was just thinking that they probably have like that thing mic'd all to hell.
This, if I remember correctly, this is the riff that Eddie Van Halen played on 2.5 Men. I gotta look up what exactly he called it. I thought he played it on 2.5 Men. I'm going to go to the Van Halen news desk, and I'm going to find out here.
There you
go. It's called Two Burritos and a Root Beer Float. Yet he played it during a September 2009 appearance on 2.5 Men, and even earlier during a NAMM demonstration in 2003. So
I did not realize he had an appearance on 2.5 Men. That's pretty cool.
Yep, very famous one. And then I imagine Eric Senich wrote this right up, because he said, as is grooves like Hot for Teacher on acid.
Well, okay. So then if we take that and just utilize that mentality with the intro we heard, the intro being your descent into your psychedelic trip, and then the swing kind of showing you the sights and the sounds and what have you. Yeah, I could see that.
All right, let's get back to her.
Today I am a star broke in this town that's called progress. That's how we do it. I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better, totally better. Requires degree of acceptance. It's must accept as is.
I really love the lyrics in this. And yesterday I was a bum and broke. Today I'm a star and broke in this town that's called Progress. Which it kind of ties into what you were talking about earlier about labels and studios not wanting to pay artists. I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better, totally better. required degree of acceptance is must accept as is.
Well, yeah, of course, rich is better because like you can be miserable, but at least you can go buy something that'll take that misery away for a hot second. Or you can be miserable about literally everything else, but it's like, hey, are your light bills paid? Yeah, they're paid for like the rest of the year. Like, well, then good, you're good, right? You're good. You got running water, you got food, then no worries. You know, that's what being rich is. But you're right. Yeah, I think it kind of sounds like it's sort of like a back slap to the powers that be, and rightfully so, because let that be a lesson to you kids. Not even a band of Van Halen's notoriety are safe from corporate greed.
Yep. You could say what you will about David Lee Roth vocally at this time in his career, but lyrically, I think he's fucking killing it on this track. Scott Everett chiming in the chat. Hey, Scott, rich is better, totally better, stating the obvious in a very cool way. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
As only one David Lee Roth can do. Let's get back to the song.
Of course. What does dropped chopped Alabama chrome mean? What is Alabama chrome? Is it just like dirty? Because that's what I picture in my brain.
Well, you're from the
Just
South.
dirty. I know. That's why I was like, is Alabama chrome just like rust? Is it just rust?
Well, in context, the rest of the verse is drive my search engine home, dropped and chopped in Alabama chrome. Hey, what the hell it runs-o? The day is donezo. Let's have some funzo.
I think it's because again, the most famous team in Alabama is the Crimson Tide, and Crimson kind of looks like you could get a bit rusty. It looks like it could be a bit rusty, so that's what I think Alabama chrome is. It's just rust.
Yeah, Chaz says it's hot rod culture. Yep, there you go. Dropped and chopped in Alabama chrome just sounds like you're doing a mod, right? You're just kind of you're like Frankenstratting an old 32. Kind of like what Billy F. Gibbons is driving on the cover of the Eliminator album or something, right?
Yeah. So it's for all you gearheads that are into cars and what have you. Obviously, my knowledge limited in that aspect.
Yeah. Oh, and Chaz says he actually explained it on his podcast, so there you go. So that kind of makes sense. Yep. And I just love the hey, what the hell it runs-o? The day is donezo. Let's have some funzo. Yours very truly as is. That's just a great line.
I want to rip that line apart, but I can't because it fits.
He says, Kevin says, don't love the mix, at least what I'm getting through the feed. Ed's guitar is a little buried. It's really bass heavy, just a tad imbalanced so far. I kind of, we're talking with Chaz kind of before the call about classifying different Van Halen songs. He had a whole bunch listed as kind of metal, and we're debating, is that metal, is that not? I don't mind the bass heavy so much, because to me that's kind of a more metal mix for this type of song, which kind of fits lyrically and the tone of the song, I think, though.
It's the low end's very fat. So yeah, I would totally put this in a metal category as of some of their discography.
Kevin agrees, though. Killer lyrics thus far. Let's check out the rest of it. Here we go.
How expensive you was, or what was you worth? Ain't no Brinks truck following no hearse. Drive my search engine home, drop the top down Alabama home. Hey, what the hell it runs so? That day is done so. Let's have some fun so. Yours very true, hey, as in. This next part should really confuse things. Everybody, let's stay focused.
Okay, before we get into the meat here, Chaz Charles says that's also a boogie.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And I love 100%. That. I love Dave is giving us a warning ahead of time. And is like, look, if you're about to get real confused about this next shit, like, oh, okay, cool, because I wasn't confused enough before. Well, shit. I was gonna make one point, and then that little bit right there just threw me off. But That Kids is what we call where it just like slowed down and just got real meaty. That's called a breakdown, is what that is. And that shit's heavy. You don't get a lot of like super heaviness from Van Halen, not often, but every once in a while they let you know. This is one where they're letting you know that I understand where Kevin's coming from, though. The mix is kind of weird, and that low end really is thick and very thick. But at least on my end, I can still hear pretty much everything, especially, and I'm sure, Corey, you've been tuning in. You hearing what Alex is doing back there?
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
he just driving the truck home, man. He's just like off a beaten path. It's great.
This was always a Van Halen brothers track to me, because you have Alex on the intro with that count in, and then his little jungle beat intro, and then Eddie with those nice thick guitars just sound fucking amazing. And then Chaz points out lyrically in the middle, we're going Mean Street a little bit. Absolutely.
A little bit, yeah.
And because Dave can't be ignored in the middle of a guitar solo, had to pipe in with a little more volume in the headphones, please. But kind of apropos, because we're having a hard time hearing the guitar. But
I know that's ironic. But yeah, also that line bugged me a little bit, because it's like, Dave, shut up. Just the song's still going. Shut up. Like, we don't need to get super meta with this. Just leave it be.
All right, let's get back to her.
Unspoiled by progress, as is how I follow through. It's not who you squeeze, but who returns once again to squeeze you, no doubt. Love them all, I says. That Cupid sort of man.
All right, so you got unspoiled by progress, as is how I follow through. It's not who you squeeze, but who returns once again to squeeze you, no doubt. Love them all, I says. Let Cupid sort them out.
Well, I says, good for you. I'm not entirely sure what he's trying to convey there. Like, I can make a guess, but sure, yeah, all right. It fits. What he's saying is it fits the vibe of the song, so I can't complain too hard, I guess.
Yeah, it's not who you squeeze, but who returns once again to squeeze you. Yeah,
I get it. That's that's probably the one line that makes a driving point. I can't help but wonder. Okay, Chaz says this is some of his best lyrics. I don't know that I am in agreement with that so far, and I have to wonder if Sammy wrote these songs, or if Sammy wrote these lyrics to this song, would people still enjoy it, or would they say like, "Here goes Sammy with his, once again with his bullshit"? Because I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this one.
Well,
lyrically.
yeah. Well, and because Sammy's going to have natural haters anyway, because he's not David Lee Roth, for the guys who grew up in the David Lee Roth era, who just are prepositioned to hate Sammy Hagar. Turns out Sammy Hagar was right about aliens. I saw a congressional hearing today where they admitted to the existence of aliens, and so Sammy got that right. So why not? I'm going to look at his lyrics a whole new way now.
No kidding. And hey, you guys, if you want us to, because there's a lot to be said about that, and then if we can incorporate some of the musical elements, you want that show where we dive into the aliens and Van Halen and the connections, join the Patreon. We'll do a Patreon show for you guys, just to get it all out, because I don't know what's going on in the world anymore. I just don't know.
What I like is that the government just came out and said, yeah, aliens totally exist. We have dead bodies. We have craft. 100% it's real. And the world's like, eh.
And the world's like, sure. And like, whatever. No, like, pay attention. What are you talking about? No, this is serious.
It's funny, and I was watching a clip from Howard Stern today where he had Sammy in the Circle on, and Sammy was telling his story about not being able to move, and the whole big white room and stuff, and being spoken to telepathically, and Jason Bonham was on the guitar kit behind him, making this motion like he's fucking full of shit, like none of that happened. Well, guess what? Aliens are real. Might have happened. Who knows?
I know. It's like might have happened. Y'all better apologize to Sammy Hagar. That's all I have to say.
Authentic frontier gibberish. That's what Jeff Brewer says. Yeah, love it. Good call. All right, let's get back to her.
Let's have some fun.
So Scott Everett brings up a great point. He doesn't like the Dave and Sammy thing either, but Sammy's just much more obvious in lyrics like that.
I guess. Sure. Maybe. I don't know. That's probably a more lengthy conversation as well, but I'll let it go.
Well, even his metaphors are much more straightforward, unless it's she puts the cream in my coffee. I still am baffled by that lyric.
Of all the things Dave has said, the most baffling was Sammy saying she puts the cream in my coffee. Like I don't know that. I had less of a trouble with that line than the rest of you guys did. Apparently, I'm not defending Up for
That's
Breakfast.
just me.
That's just me. Yeah, I'm not defending that song whatsoever because we've already been through this.
Kevin has to rain on everybody's parade like he does. They said they found non-human biologics. That's not even a scientific term and could refer to squirrel shit. Come on, Kevin.
I mean,
open your horizons.
The guy did say specifically, like he chose the language very carefully as to, I think he did that just to not freak people out. Like, yeah, we got dead alien bodies. He just said, there was a craft, there were non-human biologics, however you say that word, biologics, bodies. There was bodies, there were remains. I don't think it was squirrel shit because I feel like there's enough scientific minds out there to be able to distinguish the difference.
Those fucking Brits, man, I tell you. Yeah, all they do is fucking love soccer and rain on parades. That's all he does. In soccer, I watched Canada versus Ireland today. Boring as fucking shit. And now Kevin's going to scream at me in the chat, I'm sure.
Look, Nashville has a soccer team now, and people are losing their minds and having a great time. But I'll be honest with you, I don't care about soccer. I've never cared about soccer except during the women's Olympic team, like the women's USA team. Like those girls are unstoppable, man. Like they just play their hearts out. Those are fun to watch. But any other soccer, can't do it.
Jeff says Sam's metaphors are definitely less subtle than Dave's usually. Yeah, so that's
okay. Yes, I will give you that one. I will absolutely
completely correct.
Yeah, I concede.
All right, let's keep rocking. So I really want to get Kevin's opinion on this because he and I were talking in a conversation long ago about drummers and about Lars Ulrich. And I was trying to explain, like, I didn't mind Lars Ulrich as a drummer, especially on the new record. Mm-hmm. And I played him a little bit and with a lot of double kick. And he was just like, it's just fast. It's not really nuanced. But what Alex is doing on the double kick here, I will concede, sounds 1,000 times better than I think anything Lars Ulrich has ever recorded.
I think I've figured it out, and this is just a mini rant or tangent, if you will. Just like I figured out why people don't like Lars. It's not that Lars is a bad drummer, because if he was a bad drummer, Metallica would not have lasted as long as they have. They certainly wouldn't have achieved the success they have. It's not that he's he's just a boring drummer. He's a boring drummer. He does not write anything on drums technique-wise that are interesting, that really elevate the band. You don't go see Metallica for the drums. You go see Metallica for, the heavy riffs and James Hetfield's unique vocal style, which he didn't used to always have. That's just something that kind of developed over time for God knows what reason. Probably Bob Rock had something to do with it. But anyway, that's what I think it is. People are mad at Lars, not because he sucks as a drummer. It's like, no, he's just kind of boring. He's competent. He's able. He is. If he was incompetent, Metallica wouldn't have lasted. I assure you. It was just he was competent enough to hang with what's happening with the guitars and with the bass and everything. And that's it. I think being just good enough for the fans, at least, isn't good enough. So, and for that, and I will absolutely agree with that. I think that's exactly what it is.
I think you put that perfectly, and I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's not that he's a bad drummer, is that he's a boring drummer. And Kevin says, here's the difference for me. Al does it when it's right, when it's for the song. Lars just doesn't know how to write drum parts, which kind of fits into your point. I agree with that 100%. Yeah. Charles, however, says Lars is brilliant. So he's a really big fan of Lars
I mean,
Ulrich style.
Outside the kit, yes, Lars is a very smart guy, and honestly, Lars was fighting the good fight for musicians a long time ago when everybody was calling him a prude. I was like, no, Lars was trying to protect everybody, and so was Sinead O'Connor. Sidebar. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get back to As Is.
I was wondering how they were going to end this track. I thought it was going to be just a simple fade out, that Van Halen likes to do on occasion, or if it was going to finally just end on that arena ending, something like that. That was even better. I'm a big fan of your outro basically your music morphing into the outro that becomes something else, and that sounded to me like they weren't riding off into the sunset, more like they were riding up into the clouds and to into the oncoming storm that awaits. Or maybe I'm just thinking of Eddie Van Halen's contributions to the movie Twister. Doesn't matter either way. I really like that outro.
Loved it too. Kevin Brown agrees. Great outro. Love it. Some almost Joe Walsh-esque bends in the outro there. Yeah, that was kind of cool. Little Jimmy Page says Chaz.
I hear the bends. Yeah, Little Page. Yeah, like those. As the guitar player for band Polyphia calls it, the boomer bends. Don't know why he calls it that, but but yes, very bendy. But there it is. There is As Is. So it was. So it shall be. From Women and Children First, an album that is not very high on my list of albums that I enjoy, but this song was kind of a surprise. But was it a surprise in a good way or a bad way? I don't know. I'm gonna throw it to Corey first, because Corey, I think you were more versed in this one, so you had an idea of what to expect. So the question is As Is for you what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
Because I don't have the sound drop for my vote. For some reason, it left here. So while I'm looking for that and things are binging at me, I just wanted to bring up a quote here I found about As Is. And it's about a battered Opel Kadett car that the band used in their early days. There was no window. The window crank had broken. And he admitted his fear that all the successes and luxuries would be stripped away from him, and it caused him to keep that car for over 30 years. Here's the car. I'll bring it in now for everybody to see. That's the car they're talking about, or that's the style of car. Anyway, so
amazing stuff.
Also, I want you to talk about Metallica a little more while I load up my queue here. Jeff Brewer says Hetfield is Metallica. He thinks the other three are replaceable. And discuss.
The thing is, I might have agreed with you if we were just talking about the first 4 albums. However, Metallica did a lot. They gained a lot of commercial success after those albums, and for better or for worse, Black Album was huge for them. I mean, that was the one that really made them soar, and so much of that Metallica sound is not just James Hetfield's doing, but you kind of have to give it to Kirk Hammett for that, because he's the soloist. Is he doing kind of the same sort of phrasing in his solos? A lot of times, yeah, but they fit. They fit the Metallica songs that they play, and he just has this unique tone that is undeniably Metallica. Again, if we were talking about just the first few albums, I might have said, yeah, you probably need to keep Hetfield, and then, well, at that point in those first few albums, you absolutely keep Cliff, and unfortunately, Cliff passed away due to an unfortunate accident, so we'll never get that. Still troubles me, man. It's like, because Cliff Burton was incredible, and I think he could have done some amazing things had he still been with us. But nevertheless, let's just assume we're talking about the past bass players that we've had. I don't know if you guys have heard Rob Trujillo like by himself. That guy can rip. That dude is incredible, and it's not just Metallica he's played with. I mean, he's played with Ozzy. He's played with Suicidal Tendencies. He's played with Nickel Creek, Bluegrass. Like, that guy is all over the place. He has versatility for days. So I don't know that you could. I guess you could kind of replace him, because in Metallica he's not doing a ton of crazy things like Lars. But I don't know if you replace Kirk Hammett. To me, I think you're losing a little bit of that Metallica spark. That's not to say he's he's the best guitar player for that band. No, I'm just saying he is the guitar player for that band. He did all this time. He's certainly better than Dave Mustaine. Yeah, I said it. And I just think you're going to lose a bit of that Metallica flair if you take him out, even if you still have James. So that's just my hot take. I think James and Kirk are the ones you cannot replace. You could probably replace the other two.
I tell you what, Mark, you should be on the season finale of Regarding Lulu with Chaz Charles talking about Metallica and Lou Reed. Chaz says Metallica is all percussion, James is the vision. Which, I don't know if I'm on board with that one. I thought Metallica is all guitars and Lars is the backbone.
That is going to require a much longer discussion, I think, because I have no idea what the hell you're getting that from. But no, yeah, I mean, your opinion's your opinion, and I'd be very curious to hear more from it. So again, that might require a longer in-person conversation for you to explain your meaning behind that, because I don't get it.
Guess what? I found my sound clip. Before I get to my vote, though, Scott Everett says, a very strong effort from a different kind of truth. I think Wolf had a heavy influence on this one, and his effort shouldn't be overlooked on this one. Totally agree. Yeah, Wolf was fantastic. We didn't talk about Wolf at all, but that driving bass along with Uncle Al, fantastic on this track here. And
I believe it.
Kevin Brown says, a good song. Enjoyed this one. We'll just pretend Dave can still sing at this point and most definitely isn't being tuned, but he gives it what dreams are made of. So.
Yeah, we just pretend. We all just pretend.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if this is going to play for me now. So you asked, what is my vote on As Is? All right. Well, first I got to take out that comment here. I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to play. Great song from As Is. Again, real hidden gem in the catalog. A lot of people disregard this album. Oh, it's like, half old demos from the 70s. Like, who cares? If they want to rework old stuff and make it new again, every band does it. What's the fucking difference? As Is great. I never got into 2.5 Men, so I never saw the episode that Eddie was in. I saw the clip a few times, but that this is taken from a track called Two Burritos and a Root Beer Float from 2.5 Men, I think is very cool. And it just fucking rocks, right? Everything about it is great. Alan Wolfie killing it. Eddie's killing it. Dave, like I said, vocally, not at the top of his game, but lyrically, I think he is. This is an absolute gem, I think, from As Is, and absolutely what dreams are made of. But, Mark Kamier, the question now spins around to you and your buddy there on your lap. Who is that we have here tonight?
This is Lydia.
Is Lydia the one that got away from you not that long ago?
No, Beetlejuice was the one.
Beetlejuice did. Okay.
That's just his game.
Gotcha. So, Lydia and Mark, what is your vote on As Is? Is this what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
What do you think, Lydia? Oh, now you're not going to talk? Okay. Normally she's very talkative, so I'll vote for her.
What dreams are made
Yeah, I could probably spend a lot more time diving into the lyrical content of it and scratching my head and going like, I think he's trying to say this, but I'm not sure I dig this phrasing, or I'm not sure I dig this. I really don't like his little interjection during the solo, because it's just, I get it. It's a Dave thing, but it's like, it's not needed. But all that being said, all that to say, like, I can't downvote the song because the song rocks. The song kicks ass. I might have problems with the lyrics aside, but some of those lyrics still fit. And even when they sound really stupid, it still fits the vibe of the song. So you can't downvote it. One thing we didn't really talk about though was Eddie's solo. That solo to me, I don't know if you guys ever watched back in the 90s, there was this tiny television show called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it had one of the greatest intros of all time. And it started off with this heavy guitar riff and then finger tapping solo, and it was just the coolest thing in the world. And this solo reminded me so much of that. So just with the association of Power Rangers and nostalgia alone, how could I possibly downvote this? It's heavy, it's fast, it's got that familiar Van Halen swing to it, as we've mentioned, but it also it takes some moments to subvert your expectations. The breakdown I mentioned, I mean, like, I didn't expect that. This was my first time hearing the song. Like, I didn't expect Van Halen to do breakdowns in 2012. Like, that, what are we doing here? I assume Wolfie had a hand in that, but nevertheless, whoever's idea it was, good work, because this song really works for me. Lyrics aside, it doesn't matter, because am I having fun listening to it? Yes, it's a great time. And that's what you want out of Van Halen, if at the end of the day. So there you are. What Dreams Are Made Of, as is, for the both of us. Standing ovation. Good job, boys. All right. Man, God, I'm just sort of like, that's going to be one I'm going to have to like re-listen to, because I wasn't expecting that. I didn't even know what it was I was expecting, but not that. It was a welcome surprise.
Absolutely. And there's quite the chat going on about Metallica now.
Have I stirred the pot?
A little bit. Jeff and Chaz going back and forth. Jeff actually said James plays some percussive guitar, which I think is what Chaz is getting to, because he says thanks. Chaz says, my point is, Lars, is a full 25% of all Metallica is drums, guitars, and bass, all percussion instruments.
I mean, okay, but then by that logic, all metal bands are percussive. So I mean, James is playing rhythm. So I mean, you're like, is he doing a lot of chugging? Well, it's like, well, yeah, it's metal. So what are you gonna do? You know, I don't know. I don't know that I would say that Metallica is like all percussions. Like, I don't know that I would agree with that. And again, yeah, as Tom or Kevin is saying in the chat, maybe it's a metal thing. I get the idea behind thinking that metal would be percussive, and I get why you would think like James is playing percussion. He's not. It's a string. I mean, guitar is a string instrument. I mean, I don't know why we would consider that percussion, but again, I'm not a musical dictionary either. So I'm just, all my time in school studying music, at no point did a guitar enter the fray in terms of, percussion talk. But again, that's a conversation for another time. And that's a conversation for another podcast. So yeah, very tune into regarding Lulu and regarding any other Metallica podcast for sure. This is the Van Halen podcast. That's what you come to hear. That's what you come for. You come for the conversations about Van Halen. And what we got was a rockin', swinging tune called As Is from Women and Children First. So that's the conversation I'm interested in having. But I'm also interested in the people that are very much keeping the lights on, the people that are continuously engaging in the conversations, much like the people in the chats right now. Our glorious patrons. We have a Patreon, you guys. We keep talking about it. And I'm going to keep talking about it until you finally realize, you know what? We should join that. We should get some of these perks. You should. Everybody should get the perks. We got perks. And if we don't got perks that you want, we'll make them. So as a thank you, I'm going to go through the list of our patrons real quick. We got Matt Lacoste, Nate from the Deep Purple Podcast, Rava Flav, Josh Codwell, Greg Zito, Michael Griffith, Chaz Charles, Sean McGinnity from Meet the Geeks, Kevin Brown in the chat right now, Per Lineker, Scott Monroe, Ryan Powell, Jeff Brewer. I think both of you guys are in the chat. What's up? Ben Andreozzi, I believe.
Andreozzi, I think. Andreozzi. And actually,
thank you.
Yeah, he didn't comment on the feed, but he commented on Patreon, actually. He was very happy with tonight's selection of As Is. So hopefully Ben dug the track and liked the show.
Ben Andreozzi, thank you so much. Tarm Armbruster, Scott Everett, Don, aka Wabo and Cabo, and our newest patron and buddy, Heath McCoy. Whatever happened to Heath Murphy, we may never know. Thank you guys, though. You guys are great. You guys are. I love that the conversation is still going. It keeps going. I love your enthusiasm, all of you. It keeps us feeling refreshed and enthusiastic about keeping the show going. So thank you very much. But we only have so many episodes left. The wheel is getting not thinner per se, but it's just the titles are getting bigger. And when the titles get bigger, that means there's less of a selection. So that is vastly approaching, but we're not there yet. We still got plenty of time, plenty of episodes. Corey, where can the people find all the stuff if they want to get down on the nitty gritty of the show, and where they can find like-minded shows like us?
Well, www.podcastwillrock.com for all your Podcast Will Rock needs. I'll actually have a little more time dedicated to the website now that I've passed off all the social media to all my shows, to all my co-hosts. So thank you to Kevin Brown, John Mariano, Scott Haskin, and you, Mark Meyer, for taking over the Podcast Will Rock Twitter feed. So I just have one less stress in my life. I will get to the website and give it some much needed TLC coming up soon. And of course, check us out on Patreon, like Mark said, patreon.com/Podcast Will Rock. If you want a tier where Mark comes to your house and mows your lawn in a rainbow thong while singing a song, probably Beautiful Girls by Extreme, we will make that tier for you.
Oh, don't make me sing that song. I'll do everything else.
Why don't you sing Who Wants to Live Forever then? That's one we talked about with our lurkers earlier. I'd like to hear you sing that song. Maybe not in the rainbow thong, but at least sing the song.
Well, I'm wearing the rainbow thong now. Feast your eyes.
Oh, Lord. Apologies to our YouTube viewers for marking the rainbow thong. But let's talk about the Deep Dive Podcast Network, where you can find all sorts of fantastic shows, including myself and Scott Haskin, minus John Mariano, who has now left Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited. Check out our latest episode to find out more. But John and I are still doing Backtracks theme music, talking our favorite songs from our favorite movies. Scott, of course, does the Magicians podcast about Uriah Heep. Nate and John at the Deep Purple podcast, The Simple Man at Skinner Reconsidered, Terry T-Bone Mathley at T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the Other Side, Rye at Sabbath Bloody Podcast, Paul, Joe, and David at In the Lap of the Pods, Andy and Matt at Hawk Binge, talking all things Hawkwind, Eric and Jonathan at Maiden A to Z, Daniel and Josh at Diary of the Madman, the Ultimate Aussie Podcast, Ben and Sam at Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast, George and Hattie at the Judas Priest Cast, Clay and Rye at North by South Podcast, Greg and Jonathan at So Far, So Pod, So What, Kevin Brown, of course, does the Tom Petty Project and the amazing Seaside Pod Review with none other than Randy Woods, Quinn at End Volume for All, Sav, Nick, Steve, and Mark at the Rock Roulette Podcast, and Chaz and Greg at Regarding Lulu. That's wrapping up very soon. Everybody go check out that show. And don't forget all of our other podcast friends at Sean Geek and the Fast Red Podcast, You're All Doomed, a Friday the 13th podcast, the DLR Cast, the Bogus Soda Show, Pod of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, Booked on Rock with the legendary Eric Senich, Dissect That Film, and Three's Company 2 rewatch podcast. You know what? I'm going to put a plug out there too for State of Amorica, talking about the Black Crowes. That's who was supposed to be our guest tonight. Couldn't make it though. Hopefully we get them on the next show. Apologies to Matt Damon. We'll hopefully get you on next week.
That's a niche reference at this point, but I love that. I love that you busted that out. It's good stuff. All right. Yeah, you can find me at Mark the Bat on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, I'll be taking over the social medias of And the Podcast Will Rock. So I'll do my best, you guys. Corey was usually way more attentive than I am, but I'll do my best. And if I'm slacking, do let me know. I know a few of you out there will absolutely be like, yo, Mark, where's the da-da-da? Like, let's go. Let's do this. Like, I need that sometimes. I need the extra motivation to get with it. So be on the lookout for all that, and do stay tuned for all the comings and goings that we got going on the show. Hey, special announcement here. August 5th, if you happen to find yourself in the Huntsville, Alabama area, there's a little venue called Shag Nasties in Huntsville, Alabama. We will be playing the show. That's why myself and my cohorts in the band, Rose of Sharon, a tribute to Killswitch Engage, bringing the metal to Alabama, along with our buddies Vulgar Display of Nashville, a tribute of Pantera. We're just going to give Alabama a little Nashville flair of some familiar tunes. So if you find yourself out that way and you want to see me scream in your face, by all means, come on down to Huntsville, Alabama, August 5th, Shag Nasties. It's going to be a good time. It's also going to be an outdoor show, so I am going to be a sweaty mess. And who doesn't want to see that? So come on down, get screamed at, and probably catch some sweat while you're at it, because it's hot down here in the South. It's very hot. Just pray for no rain. There you are. So, and that's all I got. Once again, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. To our lurkers, our patrons that are with us every week when we do these shows, thank you for your input. You guys are very chatty today. Love it. Even if I stirred the pot a little bit, still love it. Still love your input. Love the conversations. And let's keep it going. Let's keep this going. The show's not done yet. We're still going. We are, and the podcast will rock. And we will rock you later.